Hello, I am Sarah Millican and welcome to episode 24 of How to Be Champion Storytime Special Spectacular Anori. I hope you're enjoying it. If you're up to date, fab. If you're not up to date, get yourself back there. There's 23 other episodes of very silly stuff for you to watch and listen to that would hopefully cheer you up. We are still in the chapter I've Had Proper Jobs and we're still in W.H. Smith's, I think. Are we? Yes, I think we are. Yes, we are. And this is episode 24. All Saturday staff lie about when things are coming in. We used to just say Wednesday as we didn't work on Wednesday. Sorry, everyone. We did annual audits where the manager needed the part-time staff in for as many hours as you could do. I loved it. Loved it. I used to go in for a few hours after college, count shit on a big calculator thing and earn money. It was double time too, and in all your normal clothes. I think that's when I learnt about working hard and a lot. Next, when I worked in the Virgin Cinema in Bolden Colliery. Oh, no, sorry. Next, I worked in the Virgin Cinema, Bolden Colliery. I'm hungry, that's what it is. I'm not reading. Do you not read very well when you're hungry? I know I've got crisps in the cupboard. We very rarely have crisps in the cupboard, but I've got crisps in the cupboard. I'm going to launch myself at them. So next I worked in the Virgin Cinema in Bolden Colliery. It was my first full-time job. I was 22. I've always loved films, and as a teen I went to the cinema as often as I could. I remember telling my friend Helen that I had a date for the new Keanu Reeves film Speed, and she got all excited until I said, September the 30th! I used to sneak into films I wasn't old enough to see, but with my dad. When we saw the classic Tango and Cash, I linked arms with him to make me less likely to have my age checked. Years later, I realised what that looked like. We essentially pretended my dad was a paedophile to get into Tango and Cash. I wondered what it took to be a film critic. So when I was 17, I wrote a couple of reviews and sent them into Film Review magazine for their opinion. They printed my letter and one from some young lad. I can't remember exactly what they said, but they liked him more than they liked me. I was informative and he was sassy. They did say that I might have a chance of writing reviews for a local newspaper, so I wrote to them all, and the Star series, a group of 6 free newspapers, said yes. They could only do expenses, but I was happy. A column reviewing films in the free paper at the age of 17. I was beaming. I wrote for them for 4 years and never met any of the newspaper staff. I did it all via the fax machine and my local news agents. The fax machine was often temperamental, and the man who ran the shop would let me go to work and just keep trying till it went through. What a hero. I suspected that a lot of people put the free paper straight in the bin or the litter tray for their cat to wee on, and that those who did read it possibly did so because they couldn't afford to buy a paper. With that in mind, I wrote the weekly column so that it was entertaining without the reader needing to have seen the film. If you can't afford a paper, you probably can't afford the cinema. I once mentioned Richard Gere's leather trousers 3 times in a review, and someone came up to me in the shop the next day to tell me I'd mentioned them 3 times. Customers would tell me what page I was on when the paper came out. Adorable. Because the space for actual writing was at the mercy of advertisers, the paper regularly chopped the last paragraph off my column and called it editing. Brutal. It was a review of The Preacher's Wife, starring Denzel Washington and Whitney Houston, that got me fired. Fired. I wrote quite a scathing review of Miss Houston, confident that she wouldn't be passing through Jarrow any time soon to see it. The film was awful. She was awful. I was funny about it, but I was also awful. The editor, who I'd never met, wrote me a damning letter. He said my vitriolic diatribe against the lead actor meant that I would not attract a fee for this review. Neither would he be printing it. Firstly, I looked up both vitriolic and diatribe in my dictionary. Then I replied that none of my reviews attracted a fee and that he should know that. I suggested he tried editing, for that is your job, and told him that, as I would not change my opinion, he was free to take it or leave it. He left it, and asked for my press pass to be sent back to him immediately. I cut it up into tiny bits and posted it back so that he'd have to piece it together to see what it was. He was clearly a massive Whitney Houston fan. Me too, just not in that piece of shit. My favourite programme at the time was Film 93, so I wrote to the producer and asked if I could have Barry Norman's job. Please. I think I used the words new blood. He replied that he had no immediate plans to replace Barry Norman, which I did not take as a definite no. I tried to get freelance work writing for a magazine. I remember being on the phone to someone at a women's magazine listing the subjects I could write about. After every one, she told me they had someone on staff who could write that. It was harsh, but I did manage to sell a piece I'd written as an example of my work to the short-lived Minx magazine. It was about being invited to a wedding when you're single. It was 2 hours work, one to write it, one to edit the word to the word count they wanted, and I made 200 quid. They never printed the article, but I didn't care. I sold some writing. I was a paid writer. I framed the cheque. Then I realised I was being a twat, so I photocopied the cheque, cashed it, and framed the photocopy. And that is the end of episode 24. I hope it made you laugh and smile. Have a good rest of day. I'm going to dive into some crisps now. Like a meaty flavour, I'll see what there is. Whatever there is at the minute. That's how it works, isn't it? Whatever crisps we've got, I'm going to eat them. Have a good rest of day. Keep smiling and look after yourselves. Stay in the house. Wash your fucking hands. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Hello, it's Sarah Millican here. Please make sure you subscribe to my channel to stay up to date with all of my latest videos. Don't forget to like, pop a comment below, and why not stick around to watch a few more? I'm sure those emails or those dishes can wait a bit longer.